So, hello everyone. Today I'm going to discuss to you about my Pecha kucha, which is about street prostitution. So, I will discuss here how many prostitutes we have, what is the reason, what places has a high prostitution rate. So, in the first slide, it shows that there are 42 million prostitutes in our world. And 75% of that is age 13 to 25 years old. And the 80% was a female. So yeah, as you can see on the slides. So for the next slide, so let me define first what is a street prostitution. So it is a form of sex worker in which a sex worker solicits customer from a public place, most commonly a street. So yeah, the sex act may be performed in customer's car or in the motel. So let's talk about the legality. Street prostitution is often illegal, even in jurisdictions that allow other forms of prostitution. It is estimated that 10 to 20% of sex workers are working in the streets. However, it is also estimated that 90% of the arrests of prostitutes are street workers. So here in the Philippines, street prostitution are also illegal. But in Australia, in New South Wales, it is legal to solicit on the street except in some areas such as school, Australian states. So next is the risk. So based on the article that I read is that the WHO reported that a study in Bangladesh found that between 50 and 60% of street-based prostitute had been raped by men, and 40 and 50% raped by local clients. And the article that 854 street prostitutes in 9 countries such as Canada, Colombia, and so on found that 95% of prostitutes had been physically assaulted, and 75% had been raped, and 89% want to leave prostitution. So for the next page, I am going to discuss about kinds of prostitutes in the Philippines, price of a prostitute in the Philippines, reason why they become prostitutes, and how to avoid being involved in prostitution. So next, first kind of prostitutes is karaoke girls or bar girls. So they are lying between bikini bar and karaoke, and usually called KTV. That's because many KTVs have the setup of a bikini with girls performing on stage, and their cost is 600 to be started. Second is go-go girls. Visit a go-go bars and sit down, order a beer, watch the girls dancing on the stage, and make eye-to-eye contact with that girl you like, and you can have them sit with you. And their cost is 3,000 to 8,000 pesos. And last is street girls, which is my topic. They are the girls looking for customers in the shopping malls or right on the streets. And they are usually less attractive than the ones in the bars, but they have the great bodies. And they cost 1,000 to 1,500 pesos. Next is why they become a prostitute. So first is being physically abused. In one study that was done, 87 prostitutes were interviewed. Out of those 87, it was found that 60% of them had been physically abused. Second is being sexually abused as a child. The article mentions that it can change how they see the world and how they see themselves, and it typically leads them to anxiety and depression. So yes, you can see on the slides. Next is being involved in drugs. Out of 87 prostitutes that were interviewed, 67% grew up in their family using drugs, and 5% had been given illegal drugs. That's why they become interested and addict, and to support that, they need money, and prostitutes are their source of money. Next is how to avoid prostitution. First is stay off adult forums or websites dedicated to these kinds of arrangements. Second is never agree or offer to render payment or exchange of products or services for the performance of sex act. Third, don't say anything potentially incriminating via phone call, text message, email, message board, and so on and so forth. And last, never visit an establishment in the hopes of being able to pay for sexual acts. So next is good health and well-being. Sex workers are 13 times more at risk of HIV compared with the general population due to an increase of likelihood of being economically vulnerable, unable to negotiate consistent condom use, and so on and so forth that you can see on the slides. So yes. So according to the article, here is the successful HIV programs for sex workers in 2013. So the WHO released a tool offering advice on building HIV programs for sex workers. So as you can see, so next slide. First is encouraging condom use in South Africa. A 2015 study found that condom distribution and HIV programs have reduced HIV cases in female sex workers by 76%. Second is HIV counseling and testing services for sex workers. So the WHO recommends at least annual voluntary testing for sex workers in a review of 52 low-income and middle-income countries in 2010. So that's all.